Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Hightop Sports. This is Monday Mashup. We got a lot to go over. First order of business happened last night. Florida flips. We didn't get a graphic, but flips the president from Michigan. We'll talk about why that's a big deal. If you've been following Florida football or just Florida sports in general, we understand we haven't had a president, why that means something. Then Paul Feinbaum takes a shot and finally decided on a Florida team, but it's at Oklahoma, not winning 9 games. I know some OU fans follow the show. We're going to talk about it. Was he right? Was he wrong? You know where I sit. Then Sacramento State lands Jaden Rashada. Two-pronged story there. We'll get into it. Billy B, and not Billy Ballsack, but Billy Belichick. Is he on to something? We'll get into it. And top 5 SEC quarterbacks. The boys don't know, but we all put our votes in. And as commish of the show, I put basically like an aggregate together of our top 5. And then there was one tiebreaker, and I picked it. So should be a doozy at the end, boys and girls. Without further ado, one of our co-hosts for the evening, Mr. Cody, a.k.a. The Professor. Wow, no Bush Latte. This show's going to suck. In cowboy tie, rocking and rolling with us, boys and girls. Well, hey, good morning, boys. Good to see you. Happy Monday. Great little weekend for the Kentucky Derby. Did you get your horse right, Ty? I know Cody doesn't even know what that means, but
I mean, I got the horse right, but it was chalk. You know, I don't like when the chalk wins.
I don't know if I'd say it was chalk, but yeah.
And then journalism was second.
It was it felt very March Madness-esque, where all the top dogs were running through it. The races beforehand were also chalk. I don't know if the mud played a factor or the rain. I don't know. I was trying to tap into what was going on, but good weekend. Kentucky Derby is always fun. Look, it's 2 minutes of fame, and look, they tell you that it's not a long time. It took a minute to get around the track. All right, it was a good. I was exhausted afterwards. Let's just say that. Okay.
The best part was the hats. You know, all the women wear the hats, and they get them out there, and they had all kinds of different hats. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. You know, it's a good way to get out and get your hat out. You know, you get to use it one time a year.
Cody, how you feeling? You had your nice big wedding?
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Wedding this weekend, so food was actually spot on, really good. Free drinks. It wasn't Busch Light, it was Michelob Ultra, but you know, I drank about 25 of those. So
okay, food was good. We had a debate about this. Quick little thing before we get the show started. We were talking like wedding food typically sucks. Like it's just you get fired up to go eat wedding food, and it's usually supposed to be expensive, but it's kind of usually basic chicken or basic fish or basic steak, and it's just like you're just getting cafeteria meals. And I've kind of told myself late, I feel like people, my buddy Rick, he did a pizza food truck. Like people are getting a little more eccentric with it, more fun with it. Like, look, we're there to party, get drunk. I don't care about the fancy fine wine. Give me a pizza. Give me some barbecue. Give me kind of handhelds. But you said food was good. We're turning a corner.
Beef brisket, unbelievable. They had a lemon cake for dessert. Oh my goodness! And then the hors d'oeuvres. I'm not usually an hors d'oeuvre guy. They had little mini chicken and waffles. It looked like a little chicken nugget from Chick-fil-A with a mini waffle on top of it with a little syrup on it.
I'm a big look, you give me some good outdoors. I've been to some weddings where there's sushi or like little little wieners or like meatballs. That's fine. Look, cocktail hour always slaps. I'm a big cocktail hour guy. What were we gonna say, Ty, before we dive into it?
Oh no, then you're good. I just give my nephew a little shout out. He defended his title this week in little Cagezilla. He's an Ultimate Fighter, so he defended his title. He's on his way, yeah. So he's starting to do it. He's been champion for about 6 months now. So
it's cool, bro. I've seen those little cats like 8, 9, 10. Dude, they're fun to watch because they don't feel anything. And they're just after it. It's a good time.
Oh, he's 21, buddy. He's deep in it. He wants some UFC action. He's deep in it.
Oh, he's 21. Okay, he's not like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I was young nephew.
Yeah,
you're old as hell. All right, well he's that's good for him, man. Good for him. So he's close. He's on the up and up. All right, let's get after it, boys. Gators get a president. Now look, probably, you know, if you're a Gator fan, or you obviously most of you are following the show, you understand like how big of a deal this is. After Ben Sass, he walked away. There was obviously some ugliness there, and a lot of people were clamoring for a president during the time of the football year last year when there really wasn't anybody to hold Strickland accountable, right? When things weren't going great for Billy Napier, that's the guy who who hired Napier. You need a guy that kind of can push back against Strickland that's making all these moves. So not necessarily yes man, but to head spear in this thing. And so that was a big ordeal. Also, Strickland hasn't. I mean, look, I think he wants the school to have success in sports, as all do presidents. But his big focus is an all-around school education. We want to build seats, all these things, which are great things. Like, you need that too. But it always has felt that sports has not been his focus. For us to go get a president that has a massive support for the sports system is huge. His name is Santa, which is a phenomenal name. Jay Ono was the previous president of Michigan. Now, it's not necessarily official yet, but he did post out that he is the finalist for us, and that he would be consuming the job once the board of trustees or whatever approve it. So this summer it should happen. But again, what I love about it is he has been vocally known on Twitter to back the football program, to be a big sports enthusiast, and also too during the whole allegations with Harbaugh when he was being accused of cheating. The big mantra for them was bet. He tweeted out like the little bet logo with the Michigan M. Why is all this important, Sheldon? Why? This is the president. What do we look? If you want to know if the guy can do the job, he's been a president for 14 years, was the president of Michigan. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you what it means for us fans and why we should be excited for the Florida football program. For there's somebody there now to hold the sporting program to a higher standard. Look, I think that it's taking those steps, but now you got somebody who's going to be driving it and pushing it more than, let's say, a Scott Strickland. And the fact that he backed Harbaugh during a time when everybody wanted to be against him, I think just speaks volumes to who he is as a president, and will be a great face, because Scott's just not the face. Even at the basketball championship celebration, the man was getting booed. So they got to put a new face out there to wave hands and kiss babies. And I think Santa J. Ono is going to be a phenomenal fit. I'm super pumped about it. Cody, I know you kind of just got up, but how do you feel about it, man?
Yeah, I really like it. It's, a guy that that obviously has backed the football team to a point that they won a national championship. And there was a lot of heat on that program after Signgate, the alleged stealing of signs or what have you. But I'll say this, it's good to have somebody that cares about the sports again, and hopefully we have some rudimentary changes with some internal leadership. It's not going to be anything that you or I see, but it's going to be things that the staff sees, the players see, the former alumni see. It's stuff like that. Like he would have said, have a parade for the basketball team. They deserved one.
Sure.
So it's one of those things where I think it's number one. It's a job that needs to be filled, and I think they swung it out of the park if they do dot the I's and cross the T's on the contract.
Great point. I think you add an extra vowel in there, an alumni, but I love it. You guys like make your own words up on this show, so I'm cool with it. It's better than the other words that you usually say. Ty, I know. Look, you're not too worked up about it, but as an opposing guy, you probably haven't. Again, outside fan bases, kind of casual fans, probably like, what's the big deal about it? We, again, being in the trenches, have understood the impact on this. But what are your quick thoughts on this, Ty?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the casual fan's not going to pay attention much to this, but like if you go back and you look at him over what he did in Michigan, I mean, he had a campus plan for 2050, which was kind of it's kind of a big deal. He's looking forward and he backs his guys, and knowing when your guy has your back and supports the sporting program and things like that, it definitely helps you as a football program, knowing that your president's got your back, knowing that your president's sitting there and he's not just sitting there collecting paychecks. So as a casual fan, you may not see it as a big deal, but like a guy that can come in and present leadership, and if you're looking to expand the stadium or something of that nature, like you can go to him and you can figure things out together. So as for me, I wouldn't know it's as big a deal, but like doing some research on it, he's done a lot of good things for Michigan, and I expect him to bring the same to Florida. They did a foundation for kids that made less than 125,000. It's called the Go Blue Foundation, and it helps support families that didn't have that money to give free tuition to some in-state kids and things like that. So as a football program, it may not be like a huge deal, but knowing that you have a president, the guy has your back and wants the program to succeed, I think that is kind of a big deal. So, casual fan may not think so, but I do.
It's a bigger deal just to get the fact that that place has been empty for so long. And again, it's a role for a reason. You need that to be held, and you need that to have someone to, again, to complete the circle. If you've got just one person running the show, it can get a little wobbly. So look, I think people have their complaints about Strickland. I think we've made there's been some great things happening over the last couple of months here. And again, obviously the big hire with Todd Golden, but Look, good stuff. Love this. This was fantastic news. Not one of the sexiest things, but man, for Florida fans, if you think about the last 3 off seasons, we have gone through some trenches. And this off season, not much turnover, a basketball national championship, baseball team's finding its rhythm, softball's doing great, and we kept our premier quarterback, and he's healthy throwing the football. So a lot of great check marks right now, and we're going to take them as we can and take these small W's as we continue to rock and roll. Let's talk about some L's. I'm on fire.
You had to.
Paul Feinbaum takes an absolute dagger shot at Oklahoma, and I gotta agree with him. I love me some good old Paul, and I know Oklahoma. I know Jason's gonna be just ranting and raving. He doesn't think they can win 9 games, and this is gonna come back later on. We're gonna do a little foreshadowing because top SEC quarterbacks. One of us had John Mater in their Final 5. I'm not gonna tell you who, but we'll see if it ended up on the big board at the end. And we'll talk about that. But let's take a look at this schedule. You take a quick glance at it. It's already 5 losses. I'm just telling you right now, real quick off the dome. Michigan's going to whoop that Tudor, okay? I'm telling you right now, Michigan's going to take it to the house. That Michigan team's one to watch next year. That's one. Texas is going to just clean clock them like they did last year. No problemo. South Carolina, Lenore Sellers, also a little foreshadowing. That quarterback was on everybody's big board, okay? So he will be on that list, and that South Carolina team ain't no joke. And that game is at South Carolina. Come on. That's 3 right there. Alabama. They ain't losing that one again. I can assure you, you got lucky. Congrats, but you're not doing it again. And then LSU is the 5th one, okay? I didn't mention Missouri. I didn't mention Ole Miss. I didn't mention Tennessee. And I didn't mention Auburn, all right? So this look, I think they had obviously phases of this last year, missed 8 wins last year. I think a lot of people are excited about John Maynard. We're going to talk more about him later on. I'm not quite sold. I don't think Oklahoma has necessarily done the job that it's going to take. And I think Brent Venables trying to take the reins here. I just don't see them finding the rhythm when all those teams that I just mentioned are stepping in the right direction. Or if you want to argue on the same, look, LSU made massive moves in this offseason. These are just the 5 losses. Bama, look, could there be a little bit of logo fever there? I'll give you that. Michigan, I think, did massive moves. I love Michigan. Texas, obviously, we were high on them. In South Carolina, I think they are making all the right moves. So I agree with Feinbaum here. I know that Oklahoma fans are going to be in shambles about it, and they love to get excited and think they're going to do well, but we'll see. I know Cody's a big OU guy. He loves talking with Jason, and following all the recruits, has a better feel on the talent that's coming in. What do you feel, Codes?
Yeah, I don't think Paul Feinbaum missed on this one. I'm gonna say this, and it's not.
You back.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. No, it just, when I look at the recruiting class, they've done an excellent job on defense, on the defensive line. They've done an excellent job at linebacker and some others, but they lost some guys this past year. My head scratcher is the running back room and the wide receiver room. Who's he even going to throw the ball to? I mean, they have nobody at wide receiver. They have like 1 or 2 young guys. They had problems with drops last year. I know they got a new OC. I know they have a seasoned John Mateer coming from Wisco. But this is my thing. Who's going to catch the balls? Because they really didn't bring anybody in wide receiver wise to the portal, and they lost everybody. They just lost Gavin Salchuk, their main staple running back also. I just feel like there's been too many pieces subtracted compared to what they've added, if that makes sense. It's not a knock on anybody. But also you're in the SEC now. You're not gonna play dumpster fire defenses of the Big 12 and beat up on everybody like you used to.
Yeah. And look, this team's finding a little bit of a new identity. I think they're trying to get back to it. But you lose, obviously, Lebby to Mississippi State. That was a big factor. That was a big. But this Oklahoma, I don't think.
But they wanted him gone. They wanted him gone.
But I don't think this Oklahoma has possessed that same the same offensive style that we remember them as. They're evolving. They're changing, which I think they have to. And like you just said, though, hey, defensively, I think that was what kept them in games last year. It was offense was their problem. You go get John Mater, cool, but that's like you putting your Lambo parked in front of a trailer park. Like and I'm not sold on Mater. There's a little foreshadowing there for you. We'll get into that, but I know how people are viewing him, and there's no disrespect to him, but Ty, let's not get ahead of ourselves, boys. But little teasers always never hurt nobody. Ty, get after, big guy.
Listen, I'm going to go on the other side of this. I actually like what Oklahoma has done, and people can say what they want, but they added Jaden to the running back room. And if you guys don't know him, go look at the Cal tape. It doesn't lie. John Mater could be the Cam Ward for what Miami was last year. Could be Oklahoma. Burks is not a bum by any stretch of the mean. Burks can play. They didn't really have anybody to throw the ball to them. I mean, if you go look at Jackson Arnold, did not throw the ball very well last year. And then you brought in the other kid who all he could do was run. Now you get Mater who can run and throw, and he can do both, and he does them both very, very well. I'm telling you, Oklahoma might shock some people. I'm on the other side of it. If the offensive line can hold up, I think that those two, between Mater and Ott, with little Burks, I'm just saying, don't be shocked if they do at least win 9 games. I wouldn't be surprised.
I love it. Little do-si-do here. Look, I think what makes this fun and what makes it, obviously, this conversation really exciting is that there is areas where you can find and you can plug those things in. Because, again, their defense kept them in games that they probably shouldn't have been in, and they were able to really just suffocate those teams they were going up against. They've recruited very well on the defensive side of things. But the problem that I find them going into is that the SEC has done a much better job, I believe. They always get talent, but these teams seem to be picking up on the firepower. And those teams we're talking about, like Texas, again, I've got question marks with Arch. I think Michigan's built similar to them, and I think they're going to suffocate them more. And that's early on in the year, and that could be a quick dagger. People are high on Auburn. I'm not high on Auburn, but it's just, look, it's SEC play. I think they can walk through Auburn no problem. Mizzou, I mean, that's a little rivalry game. They started that thing up last year, but Mizzou, I think, takes a step back. They kind of just really, I haven't really took a hold of the smoke like they should have, or the fire, if you will. But I think Alabama, again, will be able to find a way to get it done. So, again, I still see 5 losses, but one or two of those I could see where they could, like last year, they could flip it too.
Yeah, I mean, their quarterback play was very, very suspect last year.
Very
sus. That was it. Like when you don't have someone that you believe can throw the ball down the field, it makes it a lot easier to play the run, and you get a better running back in there now. I'm not saying they win 9 games, but I'm not surprised if they do. I know their schedule stuff, but I do think that they have definitely an opportunity to upset one of those teams. Like Michigan's early on. I don't know. I mean, is Underwood the quarterback now? I don't know. Like there's a lot of question marks on Michigan's side too. They haven't really had a good quarterback play either. So as I look at it, I don't know. There's a lot of question marks. Alabama. Who's Alabama's quarterback? I don't know. So
yeah, look, they've got they got out South Carolina, then Ole Miss at home, at Tennessee, at Alabama. Look, that Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss, I think, takes a step back. Their quarterback was also on one of our top 5s, so we could be seeing him later on. Which, again, I think they've done well with quarterback play. I think they do well with reloading the portal, but I don't think they did as well as they've done in the past. So that's a game that's open for grabs too. Look, it should be fun. I think Feinbaum was right on this one though. If there's a big SEC team that doesn't probably hit as people think it should, I think it is OU. Now you can come after me and say Florida and all those things. Listen, I hear you. Don't yell at me. I'm just talking to you. Let's get out west here. This is a weird one. The fact that we're talking about this school is crazy.
This is awesome.
This is cool though. I mean, it's just what money will do. This is the new live. I tell you. Jaden Rashada, two-pronged system, like I said. Jaden Rashada signs with Sacramento, and he spoke about it and basically said, hey, took my time on this, was much more picky. And I love this. This, to me, is what the portal should be used for. It's what makes these guys able to succeed. It was the best-case scenario for him. Kind of jumped around. It was a massive headache. He reminds me, he's like the Kermani McLeans, the Arch Mannings, the Dylan Raiolas. What I mean by that is that those names are just hot. I mean, for whatever reason, coming out of high school, everyone loved talking about him. And then they got a story attached to him. Dylan Raiola couldn't stay at one high school for more than 5 minutes. You've got Kermani McLean that had multiple flips. You've got Arch, which was massive because it was like, where's he going to go? It was always Texas, but we just created 19 different conversations of like, these other schools are in the mix. Like, everyone had kind of their little side bag that made these names bigger than probably what they should have been. Jaden Rashada, one of those things. Miami, Florida, Arizona State, kind of goes quiet. Then comes to Georgia. Doesn't do anything at Georgia, and goes find a home at Sacramento State with a new coach, Brendan Marion, the go offense, which that's why I love it even more. The guy wants to sling it, wants to throw the rock, take a step back, go to an FCS school that's looking to make climbs, which we're going to get into, but also an offense that's going to feed your arm and allow for you to probably make a run. be in college probably for five years, but come after it and do great things. But the other prong is they signed 50 guys from the portal. They have a backing of $35 million from the SAC-12, which is their NIL, and making a huge push to join the FBS next year after a team like Kent State just took a step back. So really interesting one to watch here. Brendan Marion was a hot commodity because he played for, was it the UNLV, right? He was the offensive coordinator, I believe.
He coached at Texas as well.
Yeah,
he coached at UNLV.
Great background, but was a hot commodity. Florida being one of those conversation with where he could possibly land. But look, I'll pass it to you, Ty, on this whole sack thing. It's just a cool little story in college football we're keeping an eye on here.
Yeah, I mean, this is awesome. I mean, this is what the NIL can do. I mean, and this is the better part of it, as now we see teams that are trying to break through to get into the FBS, and they have all that. Now they have this money and they get all the backing, and then they go Brendan Marion, who's a well respected coach. Kids are going to want to play for him. They go and get all these transfer guys, and they're just not bums. I mean, they're getting 4-star guys. They got Sam Adams, running back out of Washington. They transfer. Sam Adams, a second. They got Warren Smith Jr., a cornerback out of Washington State. He was a 4-star guy. Adjul Hall out of UCF. He was a 4-star guy out of high school. Jordan Anderson, another wide receiver, 4-star guy out of Oregon State. I mean, these guys, they're going to score. And if they can continue to build a program and break through in the FBS, I mean, that's a huge step up, and that's great because that's the stuff you want to see. I'm excited to see it with Rashada. I hope all these guys find a home and click together and have a great season. I'm going to definitely be watching them closely this year.
It's gonna be interesting to watch because teams like this, they're leapfrog pods, right? They're little stepping stones because you'll see guys go here, ball out for the year, and then they'll dip out. And so that'll be interesting to see how they manage that. But look, if you're able to flip a roster pretty quickly, which they're going to have to this year, and they're able to have success where guys are leaving, then it's going to be easy to pitch that next group, that round of guys, right? And say, hey, we've done this once, we can do it again. Colorado is in a similar boat to that. I think they have a little more stability being in the Big 12. And I think that they've put together a hell of a coaching staff that allows for them to, recruit a little bit more longevity. But they've taken that approach to get started and have shown success. So it's working for them. Cody, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a Syracuse out west,
Okay.
a school that, they go get a hot commodity coach in Fran Brown and they get Marion. I that can recruit his tail off. I think they have a shot. And I think that these players are learning, no matter what, if you can make it in the NFL pretty much anywhere, FBS, FCS, we've seen it over and over. If you ball out, the scouts are going to find you. And to have a well-known, boisterous coach like Marion, I like it a lot. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do this year.
Speaking of small town guys, who's our guy, O-lineman, that got drafted that just blew your socks off?
Oh, out of William and Mary.
There it is. William and Mary, boys. You just got to
went to the. I think he went to the Raiders at 99.
He did.
You just got to. You just got to play, baby. You just got to play. You just need to show him the reps. So, look, man, with the hot takes. Maybe you go get some more wedding food more often. A little late night out with the lady. Come back just dialed in. Remind him of the Syracuse out west. Okay. Little hot
I like
take.
it a lot.
Little hot take for the boys. Maybe a Bush Latte-esque Cody is a primed Cody. Okay, never mind. It's there. Okay, good. Okay, I was worried. I was like, this show's gonna be in shambles. I should have known better. All right, boys. Bill Belichick is just making waves. This stuff's drama, and I usually don't care for it. People love to talk about it. There's things that I just do not care about, but I am caring about it now because I think it's weirdly impacting. It's not weirdly. It is impacting. And so the question is it good? Is it helping in a weird way? So for those of you that don't know what's going on, he's dating this 24-year-old that just got out of high school. And there was this atrocious interview that happened where they just showed clips, CBS, where it was super awkward. She was very controlling. Like, it just was super weird. It looked like he was like basically in prison situation. He comes out and said that they clipped it up, made it look worse. They said, no, we didn't. And then he just fired her today, who was handling the PR, to go find someone outside of that. So she gets put in timeout. That's all fine and dandy. But the question is that How is this impacting North Carolina? How is it impacting college football? How is it impacting his recruiting? And then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? When we think about, let's go down the line. Let's think about the last couple of coaches that won something. Todd Golden had a headline middle of the season. Harbaugh had a headline in the middle of the season. Okay, Ryan Day's headline was like kind of, hey, probably gonna lose your job if you don't lock it in, big guy. If for college football coaches, they need a little drama in a weird way. It like makes it better for them. Everything just thrives because why? It's good news is bad news. All news is good news. And the fact that he's just constantly in your face, Belichick is. I feel like he's in my face because it's the girlfriend situation, or it's because they're getting another cat out of the portal. They're landing people left and right. I don't know if anyone was noticing this, but they've taken 2 from Florida. They've taken a handful of other guys from the SEC. Like they're just slowly putting together this little juicy lineup to make a run in the ACC next year. All while this is going on, and people think like, oh, it's probably bad for it. No, I don't know what it is, but in college football, if you have some sort of just madness happening or a headline, topic, debate, what have you, a scandal, if you will, you thrive. That seems to be the recipe. I don't know if that's small sample size, but when you look into it, man, we're batting 1,000. Ty?
Listen, I don't know what to think. I'm honestly worried about Bill. I think something's going on. And I'll be honest. Like, I mean, this guy can't even speak up for himself. Like, I don't even know. I don't even think he knows where he is half time. Like, I don't know. Things to me are looking weird. I know he's always been kind of out there, but this seems bad. When you are getting controlled by your 24-year-old, whatever she is, your girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. She has $9 million of real estate now from him. Just from him over the last, I mean, like, what is next? I don't know. I don't know if it's helping the recruiting. I don't know what it's doing. I'm more worried about Bill Belichick's health than I am anything else. I just, they're landing recruits, but how good is Bill to coach the team? I don't know. I'm more worried about his coaching abilities under this than I am more worried about landing players.
Great question. I was kind of thinking that too. I was like, look, he seems kind of dialed it. Like him just taking these photos are weird too. It's like, and look, maybe he brought her in. Maybe that was part of like, hey, help me relate to these young guys. How do I help? How do I recruit that? Not that like that's part of their relationship, but I'm saying like, because she was in charge of like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, how do I like be a part of the recruiting staff? Help me understand. Like, hey, she's like, hey, take a photo, smile with him. Like, this is what we're seeing. This is what you need to do. And she trusts him, or he trusts her, right? And that's part of it. But obviously, things are getting a little out of hand. But I don't think it's impacting football negatively, Cody.
My dog can recruit. I mean, look at her. I mean, what more you need? Proof's in the pudding. That's all I got to say.
All right, that's that. So you're not worried about
baby.
You're not worried about it at all.
No, God, no. He's like one of the winningest coaches ever. I'm not worried about it. He knows the X's and O's. He just need to get the recruiting deal.
Well, not according to Ty. According to Ty, it was all Tom Brady.
Well, it was all Tom Brady. Won him everything. Go look at his record without Tom Brady. He has a losing record.
Tom was the man, but I think for us just to take anything away from Bill is just, it's asinine. I think.
Let me ask you this. Are you guys like, I'm worried about his ability to coach anymore. And don't you think it's kind of weird that he had to go to college without any offers from the NFL?
I think he got blackballed by Kraft.
I disagree.
They
realize that he's going senile.
McCartney got a second chance. Like the coaches that got second chances, Bill deserves one more shot.
That guy's worthless.
My point exactly. He's still rolling.
Two teams.
He's still rolling.
Yeah, but at least he was mentally capable. I don't think Bill's mentally capable.
Here's the thing. A lot of these owners, Bill's a pain in the butt to deal with, and there's a timeline. And he rubs people the wrong way, and it's his way or the highway. What better place than to go be a man at a university?
Yeah, these colleges are a little more hands off. They're okay with big personalities and head coaches like this. They're not like the owners that the owners in the NFL also kind of want to like, hey, like I also help coach it. Like there's a little bit more of an ego associated with it. The presidents and all those guys in college, they've got so many other accolades they can tack on, right? Obviously, they would love a champion, especially at North Carolina, where football doesn't necessarily reign king, right? He can walk up in there and just like, hey, I'm running this. And like, hey, that's fine. We love it. Like, you're a splash hire. Like, the president's winning. with this hire. Like he gets to put a little notch of like, hey, I did my part. No GM would get a notch for hiring Bill right now.
You clearly see what's going on here, right? I mean, we all know that what's going on.
She
I mean,
calling the
he
plays?
clearly took
Which part?
he
Which part?
clearly took the job to pick up college girls. I mean, like, what
Oh
else is
my
he doing on
gosh.
campus?
He has his woman. He is happily
for
dating.
now, yeah.
He's happily
Until
dating.
the 18-year-old cheerleader they just recruited comes along and says, "Hey, Bill."
Don't do that to Bill like that.
Not
All right,
our
boys.
guy, Bill. I mean,
Let's-
come on.
Yeah, take it easy. Ty's got a bone to pick.
Maybe
All right, let's.
maybe she's got an old soul.
I mean, she seems like she's pretty dialed in. And she's got a little sass. She was on the interview. She wasn't afraid to hold any punches. I loved it. Back your man, baby. Let's talk about the top 25 quarterbacks. All right, like I said before at the beginning of the show, we the guys sent in who they felt should be top 5. They ranked them themselves, and I was like, look, going over 3 lists is going to be that's a 9-hour show. So I said, let's take an aggregate of the 3 of us, kind of like, hey, where do we put them, and that like who kind of moves their way up. So this list necessarily isn't what you thought it was. Okay, just so you're clear. But I took an average of it's a Hightop sports list. I took an average, and then I made my little biased opinion. All right, that's just how this works. I'm sorry you weren't there to negotiate, but that's where we're at. I think we'll find an agreement on it, and we can kind of talk. And you can also say, hey, I had so and so here. Like I push back with it, but that's the idea that we're rolling in here. Okay, top 5 quarterbacks headed into the SEC already. So these boys haven't seen the list yet. It makes it even more fun. Here we go.
Oh,
Now, yeah. So let's talk about it because you guys, Ty did see Cody's list because he sent it to the group, but nobody saw my list, and it's nice and healthy. All of us had Lenoris either 1 or 2. So to me, and I said, look, I'm okay with Lenoris. I think Lenoris looked. We talked about it a little bit last time. I think doesn't go down. I mean, those guys make a big season. We're not even having the conversation. Lenoris is the guy. He looked the part every which way. He played a ton of time last year. Looked very sound. Look, you had Rocket Raheem Sanders back there, but just love the way that he carried himself. Look, has this physique of an Anthony Richardson, but much better arm. I mean, has the ability to sling it in there. Great poise in the pocket. Moment never seemed too big for him. Love this kid a lot. Really excited to watch him play next year. Shane Beamer is a blast to watch, so that'll be fun. But I think we're all in agreement here with one. Cody, I'll let you go first, then Ty.
Yeah, I kind of got to agree. He was hemmed up with a nasty high ankle sprain too last year, so it did affect him a little bit. But a guy that just showed grit and didn't give up, and South Carolina, they didn't go and win a natty last year, but I think they had an exciting season with a true freshman quarterback, and there's a lot of they have that D line that's very good. They've got some weapons around Sellers. I think they're going to be a sleeper for this year in the SEC. Don't just think you're going to walk in there and get a win.
Ty.
Yeah, I mean, I had Lenore Sellers up here. I think he's got the tools to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. He's got a big arm. He's got what they're looking for. He's got the athleticism. In his first year, yeah, he had some growing pains, but he was a freshman. I mean, they all do. But you saw the tools. You saw what he was capable of, especially in that Alabama game. I mean, he's got a lot of fight to him. Seems like he just loves the game of football. I think he has the tools to be one of the best we could see this year. And I definitely had him. I think I had him ranked 2nd in mine, if I'm not mistaken.
You did. Yeah, you did. And I think Cody did too. And I think I had him 1. I was between 1 and 2. Look, there's always biasy there, but I liked him. I like him a lot. And I think that he's a easy, not an easy one, a healthy one. I think number 2, Garrett Nussmeier. A lot of people love Garrett. I know Ty's a big Garrett guy. I think you had him first. I like Nussmeier too. There was a times, look, and I know we talked about it was this and that of why he struggled. Looked like he was seeing ghost. His mobility isn't the best, and we talk about athleticism. I think he's very athletic. He's big. He's strong, right? Kind of Josh Allen-esque like, and can absolutely sling the hammer when need be. And I think they're bringing in some talent to help support him. But he still has Brian Kelly as his coach. Now, this could be a 1A, 1-2, 1B type situation with Garrett and us. I mean, we're kind of you got to put someone in 1 and 2. That's kind of where it's at. I like the upside for Lenoris. I think we saw the peak for Garrett. It was just the only thing that kept Garrett from being number 1 was the consistency last year. But when he was on, we saw it. Again, we just didn't see it for a long time. Ty?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a big Garrett Nussmeier supporter since last year, early on. I do think he makes quick decisions, and there are times where he struggles as well. I mean, it's college football. The guys go through it all the time. But if you sit there and you watch him, he does have good mobility. He can move when he needs to. I think that he makes good decisions. I think there are times when he played out of his realm and he tried to do too much and he fumbled the ball or he threw picks. But that's him just trying to make plays. You've got to grow and you've got to learn when to throw it away, when to try to force it. And I think he'll learn those. And I don't really love Brian Kelly as a coach, but I do love him as an offensive guy. And he tends to do really good things with quarterbacks. I mean, just look at what Jaden Daniels did under him.
Let's keep this in mind too. I mean, Jaden Daniels was a much different quarterback, but I agree with you as well. I think the offense allows for him to sling the rock, but when you're giving up 7 sacks to a team like Florida, like they did last year, either 6 or 7, and you're also losing your 5th round draft pick in Will Campbell at left tackle, those are some big step backs that those things have to be taken into consideration that will play a factor into Nussmeier's year. Because again, when the pressure was there, that was when he was his worst. Cody?
Yeah, I think Garrett kind of got he may have just got stolen from a playoff chance. If they had any suitable defense, I mean, their defense was so bad last year. I mean, the guy threw for a ton of yards, ton of touchdowns. They could have made a deep playoff run if they had a top 75 defense, 50 defense. But it felt like every time that Garrett would go out and get a touchdown, the defense would just let the opponent score right back. So it's tough when you're in that situation. Now, obviously, we'll have to see what LSU is going to do this year. But I think we saw the peak of what Garrett Nussmeier could do last year. I think he can win you a bunch of games. They get a suitable defense. They just got the safety. I just saw Bing on my phone from Houston, so they're trying to reassure that defense. But it's one of those things where I like him at 2, and I think he's an NFL quarterback for somebody. And I think he's probably going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken in the draft. A guy throws 4,000 yards in the SEC and a bunch of touchdowns and not a lot of INTs. Yeah, he took a bunch of sacks, but I mean, what more do you want than that? You should be a playoff contender.
No, I agree. I think again, 1A, 1B. I think these two can be pushing for it.
Don't forget, I got that game last year between LSU and South Carolina. It was a hell of a ball game.
That was a hell of a ball game. That was a good one. DJ Lagway at number 3. I think Cody, you had him number 1. You had him at number 3, didn't you, Ty?
I had him and Arch switch, but it was just because I didn't really know where to put Arch, so I just put him in the middle.
So I think we're all in agreement. I think this was probably the one we all agree with. I think again, I won't put DJ higher, but just I think experience in the pocket, these two carried more than he did. And there's guys down this list that you can argue that care more than DJ, and all those things I agree with. But when you take a look at DJ, the glimpses, and again, I know you're going to point to stats. Stats help for a lot of conversations, not necessarily in this one because there was little time. But the one stat I will look at is when he starts and plays a full game, he's undefeated. And what that tells me is the impact that he has on the game, just his ability to manage the pocket much better. It wasn't necessarily as fluid and sexy, and those are other reasons we can get into later on. But you're bringing back arguably the top offensive lines in the SEC when you've got an All-American at the center. You've got a potential, Austin Barber being projected a top 25 draft pick going into next year. That's your left tackle. You got a third-year starter and Najee Harris from IMG. You got Damian George going into his 4th year from Alabama, who really found his rhythm last year. And then that right tackle position is making leaps and bounds on the development side of things. And then you got some great tight ends that block out of their mind. All those things help. And then you pair that with the best running back duo in the SEC, and then just the amount of talent that is surrounding him in the wide receiver room. You can't help but think that there's just so many things that could go right on top of being a former number 1 recruit in the country and Gatorade player. It's hard not to put him into the spot. A lot of the opposing fan bases hate it, but all those things I just said had nothing to do with just DJ Lagway. It was all the components around him. And then you put in the fact that, hey, this kid was once a damn near perfect rating. Because if you want to say, hey, Arch Manning's up here, DJ's played, if I would say more than Arch Manning in the sense of big time gains and managing games, and has lost a lot more talent around him. Take a look at the NFL draft. Lost 14 guys. Now, Texas can reload like a mofo, but in the sense of total snaps, total possessions that's surrounding him, nowhere near the same as DJ Lagway. So if you want to use that argument, but I'll let you go first, Ty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Lagway fan. I think he's a great football player. I've watched him. I never forget the Georgia game when I was watching him, and everybody's like, "Oh, his numbers weren't that good." It wasn't about the numbers he was putting up. It was the deep ball they threw right on the money. It was the way that he handled the offense by pulling it when he needed to and making all the right decisions. Sometimes the stats get a little construed that way, and it drives me insane. Because if you'd watch that football game, you would see he was in total control in a big time football game in his first ever Florida Georgia game.
True freshman.
Him going down was just absolutely devastating because I wanted to see what he could do for that whole football game. We haven't seen a ton of him, but what I've seen, I like, and I think that he 100% could go the top of this board by the end of the season. So it was just between like him and Arch. I just don't think we've seen enough to be able to rank them above these other guys. I think that's more of what the problem is why I had him at 3 or 4.
Cody?
Yeah, I think you just have to look at what Billy Napier and company have put around him, and not just on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball. It's one of those things where you have LSU and you have a stable quarterback that can go take you to the playoffs, but their defense is terrible. They fired the whole staff 2 years ago. That didn't make a difference. They were even worse last year. Harold Perkins goes down. God knows what they're going to do with him. He hasn't been good since his freshman year. And you look at Florida, and yeah, we lost a couple players, but there's a lot of excitement on the defensive side of the ball, and they should be very good, especially the way they played it towards the end of the season. Then you go look at the offensive side of the ball. They recruited out of their minds at the wide receiver position. You got VB3, you got Montgomery, you have Studevant from that came in from UCLA. He is a top draft pick coming. Go ahead, bookmark it, whatever you want to do. He's going to be one of the top wide receivers taken next year off in the NFL draft. He's been played with bad quarterback play. And that's the only reason he didn't go to the draft this past year.
Played
So
for the 132nd ranked offense last year at UCLA.
yeah, no wonder he had to get out of there. And he was still looked at as a draftable player,
Yeah.
playing with one of the worst offenses in all of college football. And then
Full
you have
grown-
you
Good.
you have the it factor, right? Now DJ is now 100% healthy. I mean, for everybody that wants to poke fun at DJ and his stats, he was playing on one leg. I mean, he had a severe hamstring problem, couldn't run, had to sit in the pocket. Every single defense knew, oh, we'll just play zone against him. He threw a couple picks that probably shouldn't have, trying to fit it in, but he's still a winner. He's won at every single level, and I think there's something to be said about that.
Look, lists are again how I like to view these lists is how they're going to pan out. I will say our top 5 last year lists shambles. Why? We had Quinn Ewers up at the top. We had Carson Beck at the top. I had Jackson Dart up there. I felt right about that. People gave me crap for that. Milrow, I wasn't high on. I think I was spot on there. A lot of people were high on Jackson Arnold. I kind of got bamboozled of biting that, and I obviously he kind of fell off. So it was kind of weird how it shook up last year and what the expectation was. Let's move on to number 4 and 5. This is where it gets dicey. These two names, some of you were expecting, some of you were not expecting. Cody missed 2. He had Arch, who didn't make this list, and he had, which we kind of established that. And you also had Arch. Maybe I should have taken a step back on the Arch one. Maybe I should have moved Austin Simmons from that because you guys beat me 2-1 there. But I made the call at the end, so that was the reason why I did that. But Diego, Tyler and I both had. I had him 5, and that's why he kind of moved up to 4 for me. Mater's the big one that you had that a lot of people have in their top 5. Let's talk about that for just a quick second because my reason for it, guy threw for 3,000 yards at Washington State. We know how things are ran at that. Obviously, at Washington State, they just sling that thing. But a lot of that goes to, again, it is what it is. But if you take a look at the competition, it's nowhere near what it's going to be in the SEC. So I think he takes a little bit of a step back. I think their big issue, too, is yes, I know their quarterback play wasn't exceptional last year at Oklahoma. We kind of already talked about just the talent that's surrounding them. It's not popping off the page. I just don't know if the play calling is going to be suitable enough for Mater to ball out. I think the speed's going to be much faster than what he's used to and have some struggles. And look, that was 1 year. He's going into his 3rd year. He had 1 year. If he finds a little bit of shambles with his speed, who knows what's going to happen. It's hard for me to place him in here. Now, I'm kind of contradicting myself because I'm putting guys that have less behind them up there. But these guys are recruited to an SEC team for a reason, hence being DJ Lagway. Diego played in it last year, and we saw what he was able to do. The numbers aren't as electric, but I mean, SEC quarterback play, sometimes you just need them to figure it out and be a dog. And Diego was an absolute dog last year and did a lot of great things for Vanderbilt. He just simply just single-handedly willed that team to win. And again, it's a stat that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, right? Just his ability and what he does for that team. He sparks. He's making impact on the defense on how he's playing. I don't know if Mater's going to do that yet. I don't know how he's going to come in and settle into it. So that's why I bumped him off of our list and put Diego at 4. Ty?
Yeah, I mean, Mater's definitely a better football player overall, but he does not have the dog in him that Diego has. That was the only reason I like Diego, is because the dude is just a fighter. I mean, doesn't have the tools. He's not tall. He's not going to beat you with his big arm. He's not super accurate, but what he does is he just lifts everyone up on his side that I can't say I've ever seen. I haven't seen that from Mater yet. Like he could be that guy, but he's a more talented football player. But the only reason I have Diego here is because that Vanderbilt team was so bad. And it just felt like Diego lifted them up, and out of nowhere, I mean, they beat Alabama. I mean, that is literally insane. I got to give the guy his props. He doesn't have the tools, but man, does he fight. And that's what I'm looking for. I love football players that just fight.
You didn't have him, Cody, but we'll let you talk.
Yeah, now looking at this, I kind of like it. I'd probably have him 5th, but he reminds me of his Haynes King out of Georgia Tech, just a gritty runner. He'll throw a ball when he needs to, but just wills that team to win over and over and over again. Tough as nails. And coming back for, I'm guessing his final year, he got a an injunction saying that he could play one more year, I guess, and good for him. Good for Vandy to actually be somewhat. I'm not going to say they're good, but somewhat relative.
Relevant.
They're not a doormat anymore. Yeah. It's good. It's good for the SEC when you see that. And when you line up against Diego Pavia, it's not a for sure win or loss. You don't know what kind of sauce he's going to bring. So it's it's exciting to watch. Reminds me a lot of Haynes King.
Now, this 5th one here that we've been talking about, I kind of feel like I may have overshot my shot here. The Austin Simmons ones, we keep talking about him. I like him a lot, but I might have. This probably should have been Arch. The fact that you both had Arch in your top 5 and I didn't have Arch in mine, I kind of overplayed my hand here. I think Arch probably would have been a better fit. The reason I like Austin Simmons a lot, though, is just it feels like anytime Lane gets his guy, they do well. Jackson Dart came in, had some success very early on. When Austin came in for a couple plays last year, and it was only a couple plays, I understand that, the kid looked like he had been playing all year long. It looked in big time moments. It wasn't like he was thrown into just some weak game. The kid has an arm. The kid is extremely intelligent. He's already graduated college, I think, or something great. Yeah, he's already graduated college, I believe. Florida was obviously heavily interested in him, and then I think they realized he wasn't going to play with DJ Lagway, rightfully so. Because look, he's starting now, and he wouldn't be playing if he was at Florida. So this kid is much further along than I think a lot of people are talking about. I don't know how he kind of went under the radar. I think just because of his recruiting it had a little bit of, I would say, hecticness with the Florida situation, but not much. He basically committed to Ole Miss, and that was it. Nothing ever came of it. Did his time, and has been waiting behind Jackson Dart. And that's why I like him a lot. Again, Arch, I like Arch, but it just was plugged into kind of very fluffy situations. It's like playing golf. He just got a bunch of flyer lies. Like, yeah, he can hit a 7-iron 215 on a flyer with Sims 2s. I can too, right? But let me see it when you're in a little bit of rough and you got player irons. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I haven't seen. Weird analogy, I understand. I'm playing a lot of golf with the kiddo, so that's where my head's at right now. But that was where, and look, you can argue the same thing for Austin Simmons. I just think maybe the pressure's gonna be a little overbearing at first with Arch. Could be wrong, but I think Austin's gonna be just scooting by at Ole Miss. I know their schedule early on is easy like it was last year, and they'll get cooking once again. And if Austin could just find a little bit of confidence and swagger, I think he'll look good and he'll do a good job. But what are your guys' thoughts? I overshoot here, Ty?
No, I mean, I get it. Like, Arch, we haven't seen a lot from, and that's my only thing. Yeah, he's a big time recruit. Everyone expects him to be the next big thing. He's the next Manning. He's supposed to be the next number 1 overall pick. But it's hard to put a guy in your top 5 that you haven't really seen throw a football in pivotal moments. We've only really seen him when the game was already in hand and things like that. And yeah, does he look the part? For sure. But back to Simmons, I saw him play one series last year, and Dart went down. He took him down. He scored a touchdown. I don't remember the game, but I can tell you, Jackson Dart said, "Get me back in there before this guy takes my job."
Yeah.
And thank God he did, because he got drafted in the first round because of it. But I definitely think that this kid has talent. Only saw one drive from him, but like I said, Dart wanted to
Georgia.
get back in that football game. It
He
was
went
Georgia.
5 for 6
Okay,
for
that's what I
64
thought,
yards.
but I wasn't sure. But I do remember that, and I think they went down and they scored. And then Dart came back in with a wrapped up ankle. I think he taped him back up, and he got back in. They ended up winning that football game. But I can tell you, from what I saw on that drive and how anxious that Dart needed to get back in that game, I don't hate it. Don't hate it one bit.
Big question mark for me too on Arch. Utilizing this guy a lot throughout the year. Kind of plugged him in every so often. The lights get bright. The game got big. We never saw Arch. Weird. Put him back there like Tebow. You brought him in all year long. It was part of your plan. It was part of your system. Why, when it mattered most? And there was plenty of times when they could have needed him, especially during, was the Arizona State game that went into overtime? When there was just like, like on the 2 or 3, it's like, hey, 2 yards, you got a guy. He's back there. He's waiting. And they didn't feel confident enough to give him the rock. And I understand, Quinn's your guy. I'm not saying that. And again, if Arch was as highly anticipated as he is, there was times when Quinn was looking very questionable. Now, not to the point where he should lose his job, but I would have filtered in Quinn a little bit, or Arch a little bit more, like make his seat feel a little bit hot. Like this, Sark can't be playing like good old boy club. You're on the run for a national championship. Is your best guy in? Yes. Is it though? Because the guy that's behind him is supposed to be the next coming of Manning, and you're not even letting him get a couple of snaps in. You're not even letting him taste the field in big time moments. Like, it's not like, not even because, hey, I want you to try it out, or like, hey man, go get some play time. Like, no, he was a pivotal factor throughout the year. He's comfortable. He's played 2 games. He started 2 games. Yes, they were cupcake games, but he's managed this offense. If you can't trust him for a play in the middle of a playoff game, I got questions. Cody?
What about when Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say Saban, he had no sweat doing that. Right in the middle of national title,
yeah,
Tua
hey,
came in.
Put the kid in. Kick and slinging. I recruited him for a reason. I know he's got the talent. Don't think. Sometimes there's a cheat code in that, because they haven't even had it. They don't have a chance to think. Their blood's already pumping. They're already hot. They're already sweating. They're just like, oh, just go do. Can't think about it.
Yeah, it makes you think, if Billy Napier didn't have DJ Lagway taking reps like he was, and everybody was making fun of him at the beginning of the season, you know, he probably isn't a six win starter when finishing a game. You know, he probably has more bumps. But Austin Simmons comes in, and they didn't dial back the playbook at all. I mean, it was dagger after dagger after dagger. I think they ran in for a touchdown at the 2-yard line. It looked scary, super scary. It looked like he knew exactly what he was doing, and exactly what he wanted to do against a very good defense with Georgia. Looked better than Jackson Dart at times in that game.
Series, but
yeah, in that series. But I'll say this: we've seen this before. We've seen a guy come out for a series, light it up, and then when you start getting film on him, you know, they start figuring him out. I think he's got a live arm. I think he's uber intelligent, like you said. They still have weapons around him. I don't know of this year, but watch out next year. They're going to be heavy in NIL in the portal, and they're going to be scooping up guys to make a run with Austin Simmons. I think he's that caliber of quarterback.
I think Jackson Dart's one-on-one with Gruden is clap QB count. Tells you everything you need to know. That the reason why Austin was able to step in and do his thing, because that is a system. That is a mean, clean fight machine, and Austin was able to come into that system and just do what he does best. But the thing between that pink thing between the ears is run on a much higher caliber than Jackson Dart is, and that's not any shade towards Jackson. I don't think there's too many cats out there that got a caliber of a brain that Austin does. So I think that plays a huge factor. But then he has just the athletic ability to absolutely sling it. But again, he wasn't faced with adversity. There's no tape. The kid from Texas A&M is another one that I thought, as soon as you said that, I thought of comes in and just runs all over Florida, has a couple of games where he does that, and then you get some tape on him, you figure out, okay, like he's a one-trick pony. You can shut it down pretty quickly. But I just think that system he's going to be in at Ole Miss, they seem to, he does well with quarterbacks. I think he's in a great system. It's the perfect quarterback for the system. And that's why he's in the top 5. Look, as all list, it'll be roasted. People will be pissed. That's what they're fun for. They're a good time. But this was good. I think it was healthy because we took all of us together. And again, Ty being more of an ACC guy, you got 2 Gator guys in here, but I don't think we're in the wrong place with DJ. Everyone has, a lot of people have a DJ up in their top 5, top 10 for sure, top 7s, top 10 for all quarterbacks, I should say, for college football. I saw DJ in, which is, I think, massive. So to not put him in this big 3, I think, again, the calibers were there around it. Diego, I saw there's a couple people have him at 5. I think that's more of like that dog play. But, well, look, these are fun. We'll always circle back and see how they do. But great show, boys, as always. Great conversations. Absolute blast. You guys know what to do.
We could, we could see. Oh, you're good. We could see 3 of those quarterbacks in the SEC drafted in the top 10 this year. You could definitely see Arch, Lenoris, and Garrett, and Klubnik. They could see 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10 this year.
That is true. Well, Arch wasn't on that list, but essentially, yes, you could see those guys make a run for it. Yeah.
Talent-wise.
Talent-wise. Yeah, absolutely. Well, boys and girls, great show. Smash the like button, subscribe. Let us know in the comment section how you're feeling about the list. All kinds of things we talked about today. I'm sure you already have. I don't need to tell you, but I like to remind you in case you didn't. That's Cowboy Ty. That's Cody, the professor. I'm Shelton. Until next time, boys and girls. Peace and love.